The story of Stormblood truly begins in patch 3.4 of Heavensward. As it is with every expansion, the groundwork for the story is laid in the last 2 content patches of the previous cycle, and ends with the first 3 patches of its own expansion, creating a smooth storyline transition between expansions. Before we join the fight to liberate Alamigo and Doma from Imperial rule, we have to go back to Heavensward during the time of the Warriors of Darkness story arc, which itself was planting for the eventual Shadowbringers expansion. 25 years ago, the nation of Alamigo was involved in a civil war, the people rising up against King Theodoric, better known as the Mad King. Unfortunately, they were too focused on the enemy within to notice the encroachment of the Garlean Empire into their lands. Before they knew it, Garlemald was invading, and the once proud land was subjugated. The worship of Rhalgr was forbidden, and their national anthem was twisted into a territorial anthem of Garlemald. Some few were able to escape through the Black Shroud and eventually into Thanalan, where they have founded Little Alamigo on its southern reaches. The tension between the refugees and the Sultanate have been boiling over since 1.0, and even during the time of A Realm Reborn, we were forced to quell a number of rash acts that would have dragged the Eorzean alliance into an unwinnable war. But such torrents of hatred cannot be dammed for long, and each generation brings its new voices demanding justice. In patch 3.4, Soul Surrender, the Warrior of Light and Alphino catch wind of a local hero of the Alamigan refugees known as the Griffin. His namesake being the coat of arms of Alamigo, he has been riling up the sentiments of the people, demanding that the Eorzean alliance make moves to take back their homeland. And, if they are unwilling to aid them, then perhaps it falls to the refugees themselves to drag their allies into the war.
Brothers and sisters, 20 years ago, Alamigo, our home, was claimed by the Garlean Empire. In our haste to overthrow the King of Ruin, we turned a blind eye to our foes in the north. With our glorious revolution, we but laid a path for a new tyrant to succeed the old. And when confronted with our failure, we fled. We abandoned them, the brave and true, to fight and die for their country, or worse, to be conscripted and sent off to rob another poor bastard of his home. The Black Wolf may be dead, but a new Imperial Viceroy reigns in Alamigo now. A beast not a fraction as merciful. You all know the Eorzean alliance will do naught to oppose him. For all their promises and platitudes, they will not act if there's no profit in it. Only we can free our brothers and sisters from the Empire's tyranny, my friends. Only we have the courage to stand and fight. This I promise you, for we have a power within us, my friends. A power befitting our pride, our righteousness. Only join us, and we shall grant you the means to unleash it, and together we shall see the Alamigan standard raised over the mountains of Gia Arbania once more!
A power befitting their pride. Not at all ominous, that.
During this rally, the Warrior of Light reunites with Ida and Papalimo, who had been missing since the end of A Realm Reborn. They explain that they managed to escape the Brass Blades, and have been undercover ever since, working with the Alamigan resistance, and keeping their ear to the ground. To find out what the Griffin is truly up to, Papalymo suggests having Alphino and the Warrior of Light disguise themselves as refugees and set up a signal used to recruit new members. There, they can ambush the man and get to the bottom of things.
My thanks, comrades. You must be the esteemed adventurers of whom I've heard so much. I understand you have taken an interest in our cause.
A great interest, you might say. Your words have certainly made quite an impression on my friend and I. The Resistance has long, and some would say wisely, avoided open engagements with the Garleans, but you and yours seem confident against the world in arms. I can only assume you have good reason to be so bold. Why, one might even think you are planning to summon a primal. Because that would do much to explain the sizable shipment of crystals you recently received from your smuggler friends, whom our Ishgardian allies have since detained, lest you wonder.
I'd like to hear more about the Griffin. The real Griffin. Your performance earlier didn't fool us.
Ah, the famous scions of the Seventh Dawn. I should have known better than to think I could conceal the truth from you lot. You are right. I am not the Griffin, but I speak with his voice, and it was at his behest that we procured those crystals. You are wrong, however, if you think that we procured them to summon a primal. We used them to reach an accord with the Amalja. In exchange for crystals to summon their god, they will aid us in the fight for Alamegan liberation.
You've got to be joking! Have you gone completely mad? When people find out you helped the Lizardmen summon Ifrit, they'll turn on the Resistance. Alamigo will never be free!
This isn't a fairy tale, girl. We don't have the luxury to play at being honourable heroes. It's because the likes of you wouldn't sully your saintly hands that Alamigo's been under the yoke for the past 20 years. But the Griffin won't stand for it, and neither will we. We're ready to do whatever it takes.
I know that look, Ida, and I do not like it. You cannot seriously be contemplating taking up arms with that band of cutthroats.
I just...
If the Griffin and his men have their way, it is only a matter of time before the situation in Alamigo comes to a head. Your homeland's future teeters on a knife edge, and any reckless action, however small, could have irrevocable consequences. You mustn't lose sight of that, Ida. When the time comes, we must all make our choices, but we must do so in full possession of the facts. Now, let us away. There is work to be done.
At the beginning of patch 3.5, The Far Edge of Fate, the Scions obtain information from an unimpeachable source that an attack being planned by the Resistance is a seemingly suicidal assault on Baelsar's Wall, the Garlean fortification that runs through the Black Shroud, dividing Gridania and Girabania. Named for Gaius van Baelsar, the Black Wolf, this can be seen as the gateway to the east, and is a crucial strategic point. The Eorzean alliance meets within Gridania to discuss the matter. Unwilling to directly engage the Garleans, but fearful of an eventual counterattack, the alliance decides to send a defensive force to the Black Shroud. Sir Aymeric of Ishgard even agrees to send a detachment of Temple Knights, declaring that their re-entry into the alliance shall be honored with more than mere ink on parchment. Lady Yugiri also offers the services of the Shinobi of Doma. However rational this action seems, Alphinaud remains concerned that by placing troops near the border, they may be given the Griffin exactly what he wants. He proposes a diplomatic approach, and seeking out the Griffin and attempting to talk him and his men out of this reckless maneuver. However, by the time the Scions arrive at Baelsar's wall, it is too late. Masquerading as members of Eorzean's Grand Company soldiers, troops of the Alamegan resistance have begun an all-out assault on Baelsar's wall. Diplomacy now in tatters, the Warrior of Light and his allies are forced to battle their way through the ramparts. From where the Garleans are sitting, Eorzea now looks responsible for the unprovoked attack, and having their troops in waiting has only strengthened the illusion. The alliance has been tricked by the Griffin. Atop Baelsar's wall, the true Griffin is revealed to be none other than Ilberd, whom we last saw in the Heavensward main scenario, the man who disarmed Rauban and conspired against the Sultanate with Teleji Adeleji. Even being defeated by the Warrior of Light, the Griffin seems close to fulfilling his plan, as a roar of triumph comes up from the resistance. The wall is theirs. But then, the true plan is revealed. Laurentius, a member of the Resistance and former Crystal Brave, makes his move, and many things happen.
You've beaten me, aye. But you cannot stop what I've begun. Behold, a glimpse of things to come!
We did it! We showed the bastards!
Aye! Victory is ours!
And who knows, lads? Mayhap the Eorzeans will finally see sense when the enemy turns up on their bloody doorstep.
This is for Alamigo, for Eorzea. They die that others may live. Vanguards! Attack!
Seven hells! Do you hear that?
War machines! How did they get here so quickly?
Stand your ground! For the resistance! Gods help us! What are we thinking? The Empire's too big, too powerful. Mighty Rolker, grant us the strength
now?
There you are.
As you can see, our infiltrators did not elude me for long. Lady Ugiri is sending for an airship even as we speak.
What do we do? This is a massacre!
How wonderful to see you, Commander.
Illbird. I should have known. This has to end. It has to end now! Do you not see your countrymen dying? Have your ideals rendered you blind even to that? Order the retreat, and we will help your soldiers to safety.
Retreat? With the moment of my triumph so close at hand? You truly are a sheltered child, Leveilleur.
Nidhogg's eyes! No abyss is too deep for you, I see. But trust me when I say that such power was not meant for mortal hands.
How long have I struggled to reach this point? My countrymen, so inured to the taste of defeat, they no longer balk at its bitterness, shouting my throat raw with rallying cries, only to be greeted with dull eyes and blank faces. My brothers and sisters in Ulda have surrendered to their apathy and their appetites. Were it not for the glint of Lodorito's coin, I doubt even those here now would have answered my call. Take back our homeland! Free Alamigo! Ha! They'll happily mouth the words, but they won't spill the blood. You say no mortal should wield these eyes? Then I shall gladly become a demon. I will suckle on the souls of the hopeless and liberate the homeland they no longer deserve.
What exactly do you mean to do?
Did you hear their cries as victory was snatched away from them? Even with their dying breaths they cursed the Empire. Never has their desire for vengeance been so raw, so true. A god has no need of faith when summoned by so pure a purpose.
Summoned?
You cannot mean to fight the Empire with a primal! You know full well the danger, the futility of relying on such power!
Oh yes, I know their limitations. Which is why I will call upon a deity more terrible than the very black worm of the calamity itself.
What? Here? Now?
Like hells you will!
An ending to mark a new beginning. My pain, my longing, you shall have it all!
This light, is it...
His death completed the ritual. The primal is taking shape.
Well, can't we stop it? There must be something we can do!
There is one thing.
What? Hey! Where do you think you're going?
Master Louisoix briefly contained Bahamut by means of a potent spell of sealing. I will now attempt to do the same.
But that's impossible! We would need hours to collect the necessary ether, if not days!
Alphino, though I concede it may not always be apparent, I was ever your grandsire's finest pupil.
Timtimati, of course! The staff still holds enormous power, broken or not.
Don't you dare, Papalimo! I know how that spell works.
It is time to leave!
Quite right. Quickly now, off you go! The further away, the better!
No! If you're staying, then so am I!
No, Ida! There is a path only you can walk, and it must not end here, not like this! Take her! Please, you have to take her!
What? No! Damn it, Thancred! Put me down! Thancred!
This is one battle you cannot fight. Away with you! Go!
I think he means now!
I bid thee farewell again, my dear Ida. Now, let us see how good a student I truly was.
The summoned primal was contained by Papalimo's spell, with Papalimo's own ether wound up in the barrier. While our heroes try to think of what to do about the looming threat, there are new developments from the Far East. Patch 3.55 begins with us being introduced to Gosetsu Daito, a samurai of Doma who has come to Eorzea in search of Lady Yugiri.
By your leave!
Good gods, that voice could fell a gigas.
This is the Rising Stones, domicile of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. I enter at the invitation of one Lord Eorzean. I spy you there, Shadow Walker. You always were a hard one to find.
Yugiri, do you know this man?
Gosetsu! Why are you come to Eorzea?
In search of you, Yugiri. For days and nights did I row across the angry sea. I made port in good spirits, only for my own flesh to betray me over the trifling matter of an empty belly. Collapsed in the street like an unfed stray I was, until Lord Eorzean came to my aid. Over a most welcome meal, we spoke of the plight of Doma, and I learned of our displaced countrymen's work to resettle this blighted land. 'Twas blind fortune that I was able to locate you so swiftly. But now we must make ready to depart. Our master languishes in dire peril, and Doma calls her daughter home.
It is not so simple, Gosetsu. There are obligations which bind me here.
You refuse? Did you mislay your oath during your flight from our homeland? The laws of hospitality must be honored, but surely the vow to defend your master demands the greater obeisance.
It was our master who bid me guide our people to safe haven by any means necessary. And it was the scions you see before you who provided us succor and sanctuary when all others refused. Dire peril or no, were I to return without first repaying such hospitality, our master would cut me down at the threshold.
Mayhap that is so.
There is more. A crisis threatens all within this realm, Eorzean and Doman alike, and I go to play my part in its resolution. I will not bring shame upon our liege by abandoning my people or my duty.
While all this is going on, the Eorzean Alliance is still debating what to do about the Primal. A power that matches, nay surpasses, that of Bahamut, might even be beyond the Warrior of Light. It is none other than Nero Tolskeva who arrives to propose what he deems the obvious solution. Laying dormant beneath the fields of Cartano is Omega, the ancient Allagan weapon who seems to be even beyond the capabilities of the Ultima weapon. After some tedious haggling about the inherent risks, they realize there is no other choice but to pit the two fiends against one another. After a brief battle at Cartano Flats, with an Imperial assault team led by Grinwat, whom we will discuss later, our heroes make their way to the control room from which they can activate Omega. Cid has managed to input some safeguards which should, hopefully, allow them to disable Omega once the battle is finished, but they will have no way of knowing until they fire the machine up. Their hearts in their stomachs, they awaken Omega.
You gave too much for us to waste this chance, Papalimo. So this is for you. And me.
Yes! Fly free, my pretty! Show us what you can do!
The launch sequence has begun. Omega is loose. Huh? Omega has stopped transmitting. But that shouldn't be. I didn't engage the stasis system.
And what does this signify? I have little understanding of these contrivances.
The launch went exactly to plan, but all signals emanating from Omega have ceased. This may indicate any number of things, but we will need to join the Scions out in the field if we are to ascertain which one.
Right. I've ordered a malfunctioning beast to go to sleep. That should prevent any unfortunate mishaps. I suggest we make our way back to Gridania.
Omega destroyed the cocoon. Papalymo's spell is fading. It was bound to his ether, you see. And if the connection is broken... The light's gone. It was all we had left of him.
Ida.
I don't blame anyone. I knew what was going to happen. I knew the spell Papalymo meant to cast would drain away his life force. I knew that it would only buy us a little time.
Ida, there is no need to explain.
But there is. I can't hide in Papalymo's little shadow anymore, and I shouldn't hide behind my sister's mask. 20 years ago, on the day the Empire marched into Alamigo, I was still just a child, not even 5 summers old. My father had been one of the leaders of the revolution. He had fought to overthrow the Mad King, Theodoric. And my sister had fought alongside him. But she was strong and kind, and always knew what to do. But when the Garleans came, everything changed. My father went to war against them too, and I never saw him again. After that, I remember a lot of running. My sister dragged me for miles and miles until we came to the city of Sharlayan. That was where she met Master Louis Soir. He introduced her to the Circle of Knowing, and she eventually became an Archon.
She was your inspiration. Is that not why you took up her mask and her name? Or did you simply mean to continue what she had started?
You've known all along, haven't you? That I wasn't Ida.
Of course. We all recognized you at once. 'Twas Papalymo who persuaded us to maintain the charade.
It was silly to think I could fool you. I knew that even then, but I sort of decided not to know. Ida died 6 years ago, on a mission to smuggle refugees out of Alamigo. They say she was overwhelmed by Imperial soldiers when she stayed behind to save a little girl. She was so strong. There must have been a lot of them. I'm sorry for lying to you. My real name is Lise. When Papalimo brought me Ida's mask, it was meant as a keepsake, but I decided I wanted to be his new partner, to keep alive all the good that she had done. I didn't want to become Ida, exactly. At the time, though, I still didn't know who I was myself, and it almost seemed easier to play the role. Papalimo agreed to help, of course, but it was never what he wanted for me. He wanted me to walk my own path, and those were his final words to me. The Archon's mark he gave me is faded, and my last excuse along with it. So this is it. Whatever I choose to do from now on, I do as Lise. And I choose to continue my family's fight. I want Ala Mhigo to be the country that Ida and my father always wanted it to be.
War is upon us once more.
Do you regret standing against the Empire? Would you have chosen a different road, knowing what you know now?
To claim that I never doubted the decision would be a lie. But I made my choice, and I have defended it with blade in hand ever since.
The battle continues, and our steel is needed. Come, Shadow Walker, we leave for the east, for Doma.